The company behind a nationwide license plate surveillance network is adding new safeguards after concerns over privacy and abuse. Its cameras track vehicle movements, and police can search the database for investigations. Well, now Flock requires an audit tool to flag unusual searches and a case number for each search. Some cities have canceled their Flock contracts, while others have seen cameras vandalized or disabled. And right now we are joined live here in studio by Louisville Police Chief Paul Humphrey. And so, Chief, let's talk a little bit about these Flock cameras, because they've been a helpful tool for you guys. I know you've talked about that in investigations, how they can read, a license plate and really help officers out. What do you think about these changes?
Yes, ma'am. They are an amazing tool for us, and they have solved tons of crime and gotten very violent people off the street, as well as helped us locate missing people and things like that. I am completely supportive of these changes. I understand why people are hesitant and why people have apprehension about that type of system. But I am supportive of these changes because it helps alleviate some of those fears and helps make sure that we're doing things the right way.
Right. And with, someone like Congressman Thomas Massey, complaining about them, looking into them, something to help, calm the fears means that they stay around.
Right. It's such an essential tool that we have to make sure that we use it the right way, and we want people to feel comfortable that we are using it appropriately and we're not going to violate anyone's rights. And when we have systems in place to make sure that it's done correctly, and we can make sure that we take care of anyone who uses it inappropriately.
Okay. Let's talk about Louisville's independent monitor. Effective Law Enforcement for All released its first report on LMPD's voluntary reforms in accordance with the consent decree, and it found that LMPD had meaningful early progress implementing these reforms. So that's a very good part, saying that you guys are doing the work that you were asked to do. I know you've talked about it many times, how you've already been putting these rules in place for a while now. They did find that the mental health calls to folks in crisis were still a concern that needs what they said was urgent attention. So tell us what your thoughts are about that, Chief, and overall just their findings.
Right. And I think we are making a lot of good progress, and what people have to understand, and I think this is something we all need to understand better, is that there is no end to better. So when you're talking about improvement, there is no finish line. We're going to continue to try to improve. And I think obviously they are supposed to point out those places that we need to focus our attention on.
Right.
So we are definitely focusing our attention in those areas, and we have some new programs that we're working on that we're starting to pilot, as far as like the use of our negotiators as advanced CIT members that can give advice on runs like that might be more complicated. And so we are doing a lot of things in those areas, and we'll continue to push even further.
Okay. We reported a few days ago on the recent car break-in arrest that LMPD has made. This has been an ongoing big problem in the city, and this was a really big deal. Let's talk about that and how you got these folks. You said you picked the wrong city on your Facebook post.
No, 100%. And, this has been something that has been a point of focus for the agency for several months now, and rightfully so, that people are really concerned about that spike and the amount of work that has gone into catching these folks. We talked about those 4 that got caught, but there's about 20 plus people that we've arrested in the last 2 or 3 weeks related to car break-ins, and I think about 9 of those were juveniles, and the rest were adults. And so we are putting the hammer to people who are stealing from cars or stealing cars.
So the arrests are sending a clear message then to the community.
100%. We're going to keep it up.
Okay. Thank you so much for the update, Chief.